Spain is known for its Tabernas desert. However, with 31.5% of its land desertified, it's been experiencing one of the most distasteful environmental crises of all time. But not long ago, most of the desert areas are becoming green again. The farmlands that were once unsuitable for farming are becoming more and more nutrient-rich, which is leaving even scientists shocked. One question is, how did this change happen? Well, we've got you covered. Get a seatbelt and be ready for a ride. You might be aware that Europe has a few desert spots dotted around different locales of the continent. But do you know that its only mainland desert is located in one of the most agriculturally productive countries? If you don't know, that country is Spain. And the desert in question is known as Desierto de Tabernas, or just Tabernas Desert. Consequently, the Desierto de Tabernas is the only desert in the country. Aside from the desert, the rest of the country is green with agricultural activities. In fact, half of all the land in Spain is used for agricultural or livestock activities. Of this half, 33% constitute farmlands and 16% constitute meadows or pasture land. This large-scale farming has been beneficial to the Spanish economy. Thus, one of Spain's most prioritized economic sectors is the agricultural sector. It's a strategic sector of great social, territorial, environmental and economic importance. Consequently, Spanish agricultural policy has set a specific target and priority regarding agriculture, which includes livestock farming and fisheries, to strengthen and increase product safety, quality, marketability, and sustainability. Spain's agricultural produce is known for diversity and high quality because of its exceptional climate conditions, fertile lands, sophisticated plant and animal health protection systems, and high technological development of crops and livestock farms. Consequently, the country's agricultural output in 2015 reached a return of 45.49 billion euros, raising the 2014 figure by 3.4%. This positive return led to the employment of about 818,740 workers. Again, a survey by the National Statistical Institute (INE) showed that the Spanish agri-food industry is the country's leading industrial sector. Today, Spain is the world's chief producer and exporter of olive oil and table olives, producing 44% of all olive oil and 24% of table olives. But amidst the agricultural industrialization of Spain, something is happening in its desert. Can you guess what? The Tabernas Desert is expanding. The Tabernas Desert has been a special one right from the start. Apart from being the only mainland desert in Europe, it's also one desert that's been successfully able to maintain a low profile in contrast to other famous deserts. The Tabernas Desert is located in the Andalusia region of Spain. It begins about 30 kilometers north of Almeria and extends up to about 280 square kilometers, equivalent to 28,000 hectares of land. Being a desert, this region experiences about 30,000 hours of sunshine yearly. And as you'll expect, the temperature's quite hot in summer, going between 35 to 40 degrees Celsius and 95 to 104 degrees Celsius. Shockingly, the desert still manages to see rain in a considerable amount of more than 250 millimeters. Now that is good rain for a desert. However, it might be okay to think that this amount of rainfall is evenly distributed across time, but it's not. As a matter of fact, it scarcely rains in the region. But when it does, there's a heavy downpour that leads to nothing short of erosion or flash floods. Over time, the frequent occurrence has left the region with marks and sandstones designed by nature. This, in turn, has made the region attain a landscape style called badlands. Badlands are beautiful sceneries of nature, although they consist of dry terrains routinely disintegrated by rain and wind for a long time. So far, the Badlands of Spain have been helpful to filmmakers, who often utilize them as backdrops for their movies. Consequently, about 500 movies have been shot on this site. One of the most famous of these movies is The Barbarian by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, you may find it okay that a part of the country is a fine desert for movies and tourists, but what happens when this desert spreads into other, fertile parts of this country? While you're thinking about it, it's already happening. Spain is becoming desertified. Does this sound scary? And do you know that in Europe, Spain is the #1 country that is most vulnerable to desertification? We didn't say it, professionals did. According to the United Nations National Action Programme, NAP, set up to fight against desertification, 74% of the country is at risk of desertification. In comparison, 18% of the country has the potential of becoming permanently desert. Murcia, Valencia, and the Canary Islands are said to be the most endangered in the desertification of about 90% of their regions. But why is this happening? The desertification of the area is not without a cause. In fact, a study of the phenomenon shows that the situation has a lot to do with human activities, such as over-farming and excessive irrigation. These activities have led to soil deterioration, leaving the aquifers drained. Consequently, it's all happening at once. As mentioned, Spain is an agricultural space where farming sustains the economy. However, the soil is becoming exhausted. As a result, 3/4 of the landscape is already dry or semi-arid. Things have never been the same since the expropriation of land from the Catholic Church in the 19th and 18th centuries. Since then, new landowners have taken on the practice of destructive farming and mining techniques that are very detrimental to the condition of the soil and water resources. No doubt, the economic state of the country was robust from its agricultural outputs. However, the ecosystem suffered. Consequently, the environmentalists in the country did not find the prevailing occurrence favorable, as it was taking a toll on the water tables of the country. Due to the large-scale industrial farming, so much water was being consumed, and in fact, the water usage for farming processes was about 7 times the amount of water consumed in all the homes in Spain. Thus, the lands are not giving their best anymore, as what used to be highly fertile lands were now incapable of producing sufficient crops to sustain humans and animals. Recently, statistics have shown that another 1% of the country's landscape is deteriorating due to the unreasonable methods of agriculture explored by farmers in the area. Despite this, will Spain become a desert for real? But is Spain's response to the desertification of their lands? Well, we should know better than to think that Spain would sit back and relax while the land gets destroyed. The country is unapologetically putting in a lot of effort to reverse this ongoing desertification phenomenon. How are they doing this? It will definitely please you to know that the culprits responsible for the land degradation are also the superheroes of the story. Consequently, organizations within the industry have actively become involved in restoring the lands. One of these companies is the Al Vel Al and Eco Business Movement, which has taken up a 20-year program targeted at restoring the biodiversity of degraded areas within the country. The project covers an expanse of over 1 million hectares of land, touching Almeria, Granada, and Murcia. Al Vel Al was founded by a group of growers and entrepreneurs committed to developing schemes and regeneration strategies to help nurture the soil to its previous state of glorious fertility. The organization is funded by philanthropists and foreign investors interested in the cause. While the results of the effort put into this program are still invisible, it will amaze you to know that about 1.3 million euros is being pumped into this program every year. The project is long, and its results may not be visible until 2035. Until then, we must keep calm, knowing that restoration is happening in the background. Again, it's been predicted that the efforts of Al Vel Al will not only restore the land, but might also change the area's climate. This is because there'll be more water in the soil and more evapotranspiration from trees. Furthermore, Al Vel Al is planting ecological almond trees in a land as big as Madrid. Nowhere else in the world has this quantity of almond trees been produced. The land is very large, reaching up to about 50,000 hectares, and this work is not being done by just a few people. The Al Vel Al Association is made up of about 250 entrepreneurs and researchers, as well as other ecologically concerned individuals. Consequently, the association generates funds from organizations like TUI Group and Leopold Bachmann. Amazingly, Al Vel Al's regeneration project is currently covering over 8,000 hectares and up to 40 farmlands with tree-based crops. However, this organization still plans to double the size of its area of activities within 2 years. Another association actively restoring Spain's lands is Common Land, a Dutch NGO that's recorded tremendous success in reversing the desertification of Africa and Australia. Due to numerous applications of concerned landowners, they decided to intervene, starting with the plateau of Almeria. This choice has been reasonably justified because Almeria's recently been experiencing a devastating degree of erosion and depopulation. Stepping in, Common Land plans to work with others. Instead, they will empower the local farm owners to participate in the scheme to reverse the desertification of the land. For this purpose, all hands are to be on deck. Again, the organization plans to replicate the green wall strategy employed in the Sahara of Africa, whereby a large forest was planted stretching across the continent of Africa, alongside the combination of rural projects to stop the spread of the desert. Now, in Spain, the organization has planted thousands of trees along the lines of La Muela. It hopes to tackle the problem of multiple fronts and erosion to regenerate agriculture, sustain livestock, conserve water, and solve the problem of depopulation. Common Land is planning for the future as well. They recognize the need to incentivize farmers to ensure that they continue in the scheme long after now, as against abandoning the project because there's no profit. Consequently, they plan to replicate their likes within the country by investing in local companies interested in sustainable development. One such company is El Mendrahesa. Again, individual farmers are joining the struggle to restore the Spanish soil. They're doing everything they can, including changing their farming pattern, so planting leguminous plants and grasses of different species to restore nitrogen to the soil was something they did to help. Consequently, they're not only just pursuing sustainability, but also the regeneration of the soil. Again, plowing has become minimal. In essence, there is currently wide cooperation between everyone in the agricultural industry in Spain to jointly combat the problem of desertification. Surprisingly, this is an inspiration to other countries trying to tackle the issue of desertification. We've come to the end of today's video. Thanks for watching till the end. But what do you think of Spain's desertification and the attempts at restoration? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, do not fail to hit the like button, share it with friends, and subscribe for a more interesting one.